This is the Skip Bayless Show, brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. In my lengthy career, I have never, ever seen anything like what is happening to Shedeur Sanders right here, right now. I predicted there would be some hate, some resentment, some nitpicking because of his father and because he is his father's son. But I did not see this coming. I am still convinced Shedeur has declined that invitation he got to actually be at the draft in Green Bay, not because he wants to be home with family and friends, but because he's just sick and tired of all the endless negativity aimed at him. And he doesn't want to have to be stuck on camera out at a table, sort of in the quote unquote green room area, getting shamed on national TV if he falls all the way through the first round, as some are predicting he will. I have seen draft ranking after draft ranking that doesn't even have Shedeur Sanders ranked in the top 30 players in this draft. Again and again and again, I've seen them with my own two eyes. This is insane. This is laughably, pathetically, preposterously wrong. I'm here to tell you one last time, it's just flat wrong. This just makes me crazy because this is so all-time unfair given what this young man achieved in college football, what he consistently put on tape. It's there for all to see. And the way he has consistently conducted himself in all of his interviews leading up to this draft. This all started for me with Jordan Reed's preseason analysis on ESPN.com that just knocked me right out of my chair and on my butt on the floor. What? The conclusion was that Shedeur Sanders was a consensus second-day pick who had a chance to maybe play his way into the late first round. Seriously? What? Before the season started, just want to get this back on record, I went on record saying Shedeur and Travis Hunter should, and I thought at that point, would go 1-2 or 2-1 in this draft, depending on whether the team drafting first needed a quarterback or not. Travis Shedeur, Shedeur Travis. Of course, the Titans, now drafting first, pretty obviously need a quarterback. And by the way, I was on the record ahead of the 2023 draft that I did not love Will Levis, who just didn't have the poise and the command, the accuracy required to be a franchise quarterback in the National Football League. Watched him a lot. I said no. Tennessee took Will Levis 33rd overall, top of the second round, just a wishing and a hoping that they'd hit that QB lottery. They did not. Now I've been on record for weeks on this show and on X and all my platforms that the Tennessee Titans should take Shedeur Sanders, that if they don't, they will forever regret it. I'm doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on that right here, right now. Yet all I see in all the mocks is that Cam Ward is a lock to go #1 to Tennessee. A lock, as if there is zero debate. Have you heard any debate? Have you heard Shedeur's name at one at all, ever? I haven't. And I do see in the mocks that Shedeur might go 3 to the Giants, but that Shedeur ultimately is a second-round talent who might get way overdrafted by the Giants, who are desperate for a quarterback. What? Hey, allow me, as a lifelong diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, I am telling you right here, right now, the Giants should throw a ticker tape parade through the concrete canyons of Manhattan if Shedeur Sanders falls to them at 3. happy days would be here again in New York for the Giants if Shedeur Sanders falls to 3. For that matter, now that I think about it, how in the name of Jim Brown can the Cleveland Browns not take Shedeur Sanders at 2 if Tennessee doesn't take him at 1, which looks like a lock that he won't go at 1? Have you heard a peep about Shedeur going 2nd overall to the Cleveland Browns? Because I haven't. I think they need a quarterback. They've always needed a quarterback. And yet, nothing. Do you hear a peep about this? I don't. It's truly insane to me. The Athletic ranked Shedeur Sanders the 34th best player in this draft. I saw yesterday Jeff Legwold on ESPN.com ranked Shedeur as the 32nd best player in this draft. What? What are you not seeing? What are you not watching? Now, many of the mock drafters have the Dallas Cowboys, my Cowboys, taking Matthew Golden at 12. That's the runaway consensus now. To obviously give CeeDee Lamb a legit bookend burner who can stretch the defense opposite CeeDee. Matthew Golden is ranked on most big boards as a, sort of a top 15-ish player. Look, I like Matthew Golden. I'll get to him in a few minutes. But think about this. Matthew Golden is a 5'11", 190-pound receiver, and he's ranked far higher than a Shedeur Sanders who plays the most important position in all of sports, hands down, at a very high level in college football. I'm sorry, this is absolute madness. Not March Madness. This is April Madness. Only one draft expert has been on my side on this. Not that Mel Kiper Jr. cares what I think, but Mel is the dean of draft experts. And by the way, he will be a guest on this week's Skip's one-on-one show. And while Mel acknowledges he's pretty much alone in this evaluation, Mel Kiper Jr. has Shedeur Sanders ranked slightly above Cam Ward. Slightly above Cam Ward, and he's the only one. Shedeur is 5th on Mel's big board, and Cam Ward is 6th. Yet in Mel's latest mock draft, he still has Tennessee taking Cam Ward 1st overall because Tennessee hasn't sent the slightest signal it has ever even considered Shedeur, not even considered him, which is such a monumental mistake. So, wait, Mel Kiper Jr. has Shedeur above Cam, but nobody questions Tennessee saying, no, Cam Ward, or so we think. I don't know. There can be smoke screens at this time. Is it possible Tennessee would come to its senses? But they don't need subterfuge if they're picking one, though. What does it matter? Unless they're trying to get somebody to trade up. I have no idea. It just seems like all signs point to Cam Ward, and did from day one, with no debate, no second guessing, no devil's advocate position from anybody out there except me, and to a certain degree, Mel. He hasn't pushed for Shedeur to go 1st overall to Tennessee, but he does rank him above Cam Ward. Significant. Now, allow me to tell you why I'd take Shedeur over Cam Ward. I like Cam as an NFL quarterback. I love Shedeur as an NFL quarterback. Look, this is what I've learned in all my years. The most crucial attribute for an NFL quarterback is accuracy. And Shedeur is as deadly accurate a pocket passer as you'll ever see, who plays taller and bigger and stronger than his 6'1.25" height and his 212 pounds. He just seems like he plays much bigger than that. Shedeur has great command. He has great feel. He has great vision. He has very good touch. I'm pretty sure he has high quarterback IQ, pro system IQ. But above all that, he consistently delivers catchable passes exactly where they need to be with above average arm strength. I keep seeing his velocity questioned, and I just don't get it. I watched every game Shedeur played. The last 2 seasons at Colorado, I watched several at Jackson State. And I don't know. My eyes tell me he has plenty of arm. To the boundaries or deep, plenty of arm. Shedeur has what I would call Brady-esque velocity and deep range. And remember, that 6th rounder named Tom Brady did okay in the NFL. And by the way, Tom Brady has mentored Shedeur. So Shedeur does have Brady-esque velocity. It just works. It's not cannon fire, but it works. It's above average. Win a whole lot of football games with that kind of velocity. Medium and deep. Now let's talk about poise under fire. Shedeur's protection was horrible his first year at Colorado and only slightly improved last year. He led the nation both years in getting sacked. He has been criticized for holding the ball too long. That's the one valid criticism of Shedeur Sanders' play at Colorado. He held it too long without quality protection because he was trying with every ounce of his body and his brain to win football games for the Father he loves with every ounce of his heart and soul, every last ounce. So too often Shedeur waited, and he waited too long to make that game-changing throw on 3rd and 9, that home run throw when he's down 14. And in doing so, Shedeur often took punishment. I have rarely seen a college quarterback suffer. And I want you to remember this again and again and again. Shedeur Sanders proved to be the physically toughest college quarterback I've ever closely watched. He just kept getting rocked and hopping right back up and dropping right back again. Yeah, you're right. Shedeur grew up with money, with some money. Yeah, he made something like $3 million last year at Colorado. He drove several exotic cars. He did drape himself occasionally with NFL-style jewelry, like first-round jewelry. But trust me on this. Shedeur Sanders isn't some spoiled diva horrified by the sight of his own blood. Nope. This kid is tough. Deion Sanders, the greatest cornerback who ever played, did have a reputation for making business decisions, for avoiding making career-threatening tackles. Sometimes that was true. Yet, if Deion had to make a game-saving, game-changing tackle, trust me on this, he made it. His son was different. As a college football player, his son often put himself in harm's way at Colorado because he was trying to gut out wins for his father. Trust me, Shedeur is as tough as I've ever seen, and durably tough because he avoided any major injuries and surgery. I'm talking physically tough, but I'm also talking mentally tough. Talk about clutch. Go watch the tape of the Colorado State game, his first year at Colorado, the overtime game. Go watch the tape of the end of last year's Baylor game in Boulder. Shedeur threw one touchdown pass, game-winning touchdown pass from about 40 yards out that was dropped at the goal line. Shedeur shook it off and threw another game-winning touchdown pass from about 40 yards out that was caught on the next play. Never seen it quite like that. Deion Sanders raised his son to be a great NFL quarterback. Has always had him in a pro-style offense. Has always instilled greatness in him just by what I would call osmosis. Just by raising him around so many NFL stars. Many draft evaluators consider Shedeur's last name and his lineage as negatives. I consider them all positives. Barry Bonds-like positives. Barry Bonds stepped on a professional baseball field and just believed he was going to be great, just knew he was better than everybody else on the field immediately because his father, Bobby, was a 3-time All-Star and a 3-time Gold Glover. Same for Ken Griffey Jr., whose father was a 3-time All-Star. That Shedeur is the son of the man I consider the greatest athlete ever is, to me, just an enormous bonus, a plus, an advantage, not some deadly detriment. And I did read Adam Schefter's piece today on ESPN.com about how some NFL executives fear Deion. They fear his influence over his son, and they would fear if the team got off to a shaky start that maybe Deion would come into play as the next head coach of that team. His buyout is reasonable, according to Adam Schefter at Colorado. So Deion's always going to be in play in a year or so to coach his son, to head coach his son again at wherever pro stop he falls. The NFL is threatened by Deion Sanders, fears Deion Sanders. So these shaky, thin-skinned evaluators, these executives, could be protecting their turf by shying away from, oh, Shedeur, he's this, he's that, he's not this, he's not that. Do you want to win or not? Do you want to lose your job or not? If you want to lose your job, then don't take him. If you want to win, there he is. I'm telling you right here, right now. Yet there was that Josina Anderson report that a quarterback coach for team drafting in the top 7 was telling coaches on other teams that Shedeur was brash and arrogant in his combine interview with the QB coaches team. Was that because the QB coach just expected, like father, like son, just anticipated Shedeur as a chip off his father's primetime neon Deion block? Yeah, you know this better than I do, as well as I do. His father could be brash and arrogant, but did Deion ever always back it up? Look, Shedeur is confident, and his quiet strength, quiet confidence does rub off on his teammates, and it does make him a very strong leader. But I don't see brash and arrogant. I see fiery competitor. I see will trash talk back if you start it. I see baller. I see battler. I see a quarterback who has that dog in him, that bulldog. But off the field, seriously, I just see a polite, well-mannered young man who was raised right by his dad and by his mom. A young man who will stand up and be counted as the face of an NFL franchise. A young man you can trust. Yet Shedeur even suffers comparisons when it comes to his dad's athletic ability. I keep reading that Shedeur isn't nearly the athlete his dad is, as if he's some slow-footed pocket statue. Far from it. Shedeur can move when he needs to move. Shedeur is far more athletic than Brady was. Shedeur can escape. Shedeur can run quarterback draws. He can run a little read option when necessary. Shedeur can run strong when a first down is needed. No, he's not the athlete Deion was, but who was it? Who is? But trust me on this, Shedeur is plenty mobile. Shedeur is going to be a star in the National Football League. So what do I like about Cam Ward? Well, has a little stronger arm than Shedeur has. He's a little better athlete than Shedeur is. A little more elusive, a little more mobile. But while Shedeur held the ball too long at Colorado, Cam Ward often did something even a little more dangerous at Miami when you try to translate this into pro football. He often tried to make something out of nothing with great escapes, sidearm sort of shortstop throws into windows that will close much faster in the NFL. Cam Ward is not the purest pocket passer. Go watch the Georgia Tech tape and tell me what you see. Trying to do too much, getting careless with the football, ultimately cost Cam and the U that game. So can Cam be a young Mahomes, a Brett Favre? I'm just not that sold. I just believe Shedeur will be a little better fit for pro football. But gut feeling, I'm now convinced that neither Tennessee nor Cleveland nor even the Giants have talked themselves into Shedeur, and I'm convinced they've talked themselves completely out of Shedeur. And yeah, I know the Giants had him in for that one last session last Thursday. But they did this last year with all the top quarterbacks. All the top quarterbacks last year, except Caleb at the top, had one extra session with the Giants. So I just believe they're just trying to show their ravenous, near mutinous fans that they're doing their homework on the quarterbacks. I don't trust that they've talked themselves into Shedeur. Please, 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 Giants, don't take Shedeur. Please don't take him. Now, I do know this. I have heard this from reliable sources. Deion would love to see his son fall to New Orleans at number 9. That's, by the way, where Mel Kiper has him going. Be a great fit with Derek Carr there to start for a year, to teach for a year, just one more year. In Adam Schefter's latest report, though, a lot of NFL executives are very dubious about New Orleans' interest in Shedeur. So for me, obviously, the dream scenario would be Shedeur falling to 12. And for Jerry Jones to talk himself into plunging for once and taking Shedeur Sanders, then figuring out how to bite that bullet, pay that piper, and just get out from under Dak after next season. That's my dream scenario. All I know for sure is if Shedeur Sanders impossibly, wrongly, insanely falls out of the top 3, somebody is going to get an all-time steal.